Alright, so if you're running your license plate flipper wiring, it's going to end up, the wire for that is going to end up right where your license plate light connector is down here. And you can see the wires there. So what you want to do is run your wire to your flipper. You could either run it through the same entrance as your rear lights wire harness looms goes, which is right there. Run this wire right through there, and then you could run it up the same way the lights are, the wire loom, and then plug it in there. Or if you're not using your keyhole, you can take that out and run it through that hole, or you can make another hole right here and just run it through there. Just make sure if you do put another hole in it, to put like a little grommet there to keep water from going in, or some sealant. And that's how you hook up this part of the flipper. And this is pretty long. This cable is a good, I don't know, it's pretty long though. It's a good 12 feet, maybe longer. So we're going to run this all the way to the front of the car. Alright, after you run your license plate flipper, if you got one, wiring, rear camera wiring, and that's an RCA cable that goes with it, and then your LED for your light. You want to, it had a little clamp on this grommet here. I took it off and I'm just using 2 zip ties to hold that down to keep water out. So make sure you get that done too. And I used a little plastic here to run this. I'm going to run it down underneath where the wires are at. And then they come back up through this hole here. And that hooks up to the flipper. This hooks up to the license plate. LED, I just ran that wire right into the regular light housing, and then I ran the ground to my rear camera right through here, and I labeled it as the camera, and then the ground is here, and then I'll just have the red switch, which is hot, and I spliced that into the RCA, because the RCA that I am using has the wire connected here, so that'll be the trigger for the camera. Alright, just got finished with all the wiring. So you can see the camera's dangling here. This one's going to mount under the bumper at the bottom, under the license plate on the fiberglass bumper. You don't have to drill holes in it. You can just put adhesive and stick it on there if you want to. So I had this real clean. It's wires going under this little shelf. Is my RCA cables for the camera and the power cord, and I have it running down here in a loom, nice and neat. And then it goes into here, and you can see I zip tied that off. Make sure no water gets in there. So you don't have to have a big wiring mess when you're adding stuff to your accessories of your car. You can see the little LED wire just goes from here to there. All that's visible. And when I ran it in here, I made sure I labeled these LED light, and I have this LED emblem right here with a 3-amp fuse running into that switch. So when the trunk opens, it'll light it up through that wire. And I just, yeah, you don't have to put a fuse, but it just feels better to put one on there just in case. You never know if this wire can break or something. Yeah, and then I have the license plate flipper wire. It's right here. It's gonna run down this side here to the front, and then here's the RCA for the camera with the power cable connected to it, and that's running up to the front as well. It should be plenty long. I might use some more of this tubing, plastic tubing, to run this down there. I don't want interference in the RCA cable line with other power cords and stuff. So yeah, it's nice and clean, and so that covers the back, so I don't have to keep on taking the bumper off and the lights off when I'm, to wire stuff up. If you get all your wiring stuff out of the way in the beginning, then you don't have to rip everything out of your car later. So now's the time to do it when I have the car apart. And yeah, nice and simple. I got the camera, the flipper wire right here, ready to be hooked up. License plate light right there, and then that's all you need. Camera, flipper, license plate light, and the LED for your little emblem. Then that's pretty much covered. The whole rear is all wired up for your Knight Rider build. Run these wires up front, and there's my little remote for the flipper, and this wire just plugs into the little box up there. This one here plugs into the control box. Alright, just got finished running those wires down to the door sill over there, and I used another plastic clip thing, these little shields, wire shields, and yeah, those look real clean. And so you can see that the stock, there's one that's stock that runs I think it's the power trunk wire for the electrical motor to pop the trunk. So I just ran another one just for the heck of it, because I want the RCA to have its own separate one, because I don't want it to get interference from the other wires, and so I ran a separate one. But yeah, looks real clean. Alright, so when you put your blackout on, you got your light sensor here to plug in when you put your rear bumper on, and you got your flipper cord here. Of course, you got to take this cover, you got to lift it up to get to these, you got to shove them back inside when you hook them up, when you're putting on your bumper. And then I got my camera with some double-sided adhesive tape that will stick right onto the bottom part of the bumper. And that's pretty much it. Everything should be wired up, ready to go. Yeah, so if you're in the process of painting your car, might as well wire this side up. If everything's all taken apart, might as well do it while you can. Because if you paint your car, put the bumper on, put everything together, and then you want to do it, it's a hassle. You got to take everything apart again. So, and when you're doing that, when you're plugging those in, just pull this thing out real quick, or you can just lift it like that, shove the wires in there, or take it off. Alright, so when you plug this in, you're just going to have it kind of up under there like that. But because I got to hook it up, I got to remember to plug that in, so I just want to keep this out for the time being. I'm just going to leave mine kind of pointing out like that. Same thing with this. Once you plug this in, it's just going to go right up in here. Plenty of space in there for wires and stuff.